Hello, guys. Welcome to this new edition of Mind Podcast. We are back to part 4 of our podcast where we'll talk about the states of East India and Northeast India. And then the last part, we'll wrap up with any state or constituencies we've missed, especially a few in the central India, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, all those elections. And then we'll basically compile our predictions, numbers, and stuff, and end our 5-part series. But together with me, our co-compatriots on our journey, Mohal Joshi, Kishor, Narayan, and Rohit Pathania. Welcome to the trio. How are you guys doing? What all have you heard? And what is the crazy news that we've missed before we go into the state of West Bengal? So initial comments. Now the campaigning has fully started. Congress has finally woken up that there is a Lok Sabha there. Prime Minister Modi obviously has started doing rallies, but BJP was always up for it, but it seemed like Congress wasn't even campaigning before. So your initial thoughts before we go into West Bengal? Whoever wants to go first. Mohal, you can go first, and then I'll go to Kishor and Rohit.
I think the most newsy part of since we last recorded was that both Congress and the CPIM have released their manifesto. I think we're still waiting for the BJP manifesto. And as usual, both the Congress and the CPIM manifesto was kind of more hilarious than the Congress manifesto.
सीपीआईएम का मैनिफेस्टो आपने पढ़ा, उसके लिए बहुत applaud. I mean, that is called dedication.
I just read the overall highlights.
You don't need to. But with no unrelated logic, Mohal also lives in California, so maybe he's closest to the Communist Party than all of us. So we don't know, or the left-wing ideology. So I live in America's Nagpur, which is Houston. As Swayam. Both in the American and the Indian political sense. So हम तो communist से बहुत दूर है. Kishor, your take on this?
महाराष्ट्र
जो सुन के lawsuit डाल दे मोहल पे, we are just kidding.
No, I think the past 1 week the confusion about Maharashtra continues, and all parties are working hard. Depends on how each alliance or each combination will carry out all their differences. That is one thing to watch out for.
Fascinating. Yeah, Maharashtra still happens to be a pickle. I personally think, as someone who has watched Maharashtra politics for a long time, as long as I've watched Gujarat, I think this is probably going to be the toughest state for the N.D.A to get even more than 80%. And if they get 30 seats out of 48, they're going to be very happy. And don't come on my timeline saying, "Arey, 35 तो जीतेंगे, 48 में से जीत सकते हैं, अभी तक जीते नहीं हैं." That's the difference. Rohit.
Yeah. Two big newsy items that I think have been very fascinating. One, Chirag Paswan का scene clear नहीं हो रहा है अभी भी. Frankly, what is his party up to? What are they trying to even sort out? God knows. So that is causing a bit of jitters in the N.D.A camp generally in Bihar. Second, I think the blow up that has taken up on Purushottam Rupala's statement in Gujarat. I mean, it's really causing nightmares for the BJP locally there. So, I mean, abhi to they are planning to field 100 candidates against him and God knows what else.
So what is weird is that Rajkot is a safe BJP seat, essentially, because but I mean, they've usually done well. They have only lost it once in 2009, where Kuwarji Bhai Bawadia basically defeated Kiran Kumar Patel, but at that time BJP had also replaced Vallabhbhai Kataria, a very popular minister in the Vajpayee government, but a popular MP. But since 1989, Rajkot has been only lost by BJP once, and that was also a very sort of narrow loss. BJP lost by 24,000 votes, so they were solid 40-45% vote share, and last time they won by 3.5 lakh votes. But this whole issue with Purushottam Rupala, and see, Mr. Rupala, I believe, is a Patel, and so what his issue is the statements are like the Rajput community is doing, and Rajputs are not traditionally BJP based. There were parts of Rajput vote that have gone to Congress before in Kathiawad. There is also the Thakur vote in North Gujarat. So there are. I would still think Mr. Rajkot is a safe seat, but there are 3 seats that come into play, which is one is Amreli, which ironically that happens to be the place where Mr. Rupala is from, because there is a traditional Congress seat. Sabarkantha, again a traditional Congress seat, but there BJP has actually replaced their nominee once, which never happens. They've released it and replaced it. And Banaskantha, Congress has nominated their sitting MLA Geniben Thakur, who was a giant killer who defeated, I think, Shankar Bhai Chaudhary, a senior minister, in a couple of elections ago. And so Geniben is there, and Banaskantha also has a Muslim population there. So how that sort of manages, regardless, I think by default, Gujarat is probably going to be a 26-0. But even if there is a conversation 2 weeks before Gujarat that it could be a 24-2 election or something, it is called a little bit of sort of worrying cause for BJP, not for them, because they shouldn't have had to have any attention on Gujarat. So before we go into Bengal, Mohal, do you want to say anything about our home state? And I'm going to go straight into Bengal after that.
No, I think you covered it well. I'm pretty sure like it's going to be 26-0, but getting worried about your home state is never a good thing. You know, I mean, well, the effort should be in like a Maharashtra or a Bihar. If they have to spend more time and effort in Gujarat, that's, I mean, diverting resources from the much needed fights.
Absolutely. Okay, then let's go from the west straight to the east. And our next state is going to be West Bengal. So as you can see, we have West Bengal and Odisha both pulled over. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened in 2019 in West Bengal. And one of the big things that happened in West Bengal is the emergence of the BJP. The BJP went from 2 seats to 18. Their vote share going up 40 to 40 and 40.7%, a 23%, almost 23% swing. It's 22.8. Mamata Banerjee going down, dropping 12 seats. And basically, her vote share went up 3.5% as well. So she was at 40, she went to 43.5. So where does the BJP's jump comes from? Right here. The Communist Party. So just like Mohal, I think the communists of West Bengal have also read the Communist Manifesto and decided that finally we are going to go to the BJP. But it is true, the Hindus that have voted for the communists in Bengal have voted, because see, there are areas of West Bengal, especially in the northern part and right here, they are essentially fighting with the TMC, and they're going to vote. The Hindus are going to go with whichever party is taking on the Islamists. So if TMC is making support statements to the Islamists, you know, the Hindus will go to the CPIM. Then you have this area which borders the Bihar, Jharkhand region, where there is also some Hindi-speaking population as well. And then you have your seats like Asansol and stuff where, BJP has actually done well. I forget what is Nishit Pramanik's seat, but that is another seat as well that Kuch Bihar is up north, I believe. Yes, so
yeah,
they've done up north, so they've done well as well. So it's been an interesting thing, and it's not like BJP lost and won those seats by like smaller margins and stuff. So they won it pretty convincingly. So you have also SS Aluwalia winning from Bardhaman. I don't think he's been repeated, but SS Aluwalia is with the interesting Sikh face of the BJP, he's also fought from Darjeeling. He's a Sardar who speaks Bengali and very fluently. So so very interesting thing. So Kishor, I'll go to you first and then to Mohal and Rohit. Talk us through a little bit about Bengal. This is the current phase. The Bengal votes in pretty much all the phases. All 7 phases, Bengal has a few seats. So बंगाल में कैंपेनिंग जॉब शुरू होगी, वो 1 जून को ही खत्म होगी, और let's say 2 days before 1 June, so we'll say end of May, 29th May. So what do you make of it?
The formula is repeated. Even the last time around, Bengal voted across all 7 phases. Mamata Banerjee did not like that idea even back then. This time also, she had a problem with that. Be that as it may, I look at West Bengal and the emergence of BJP there as some kind of a people's voice which continues to be oppressed, and I'll tell you the reasons why. We all know that West Bengal is a communist land right from the mid-1970s. Now, how have the communists behaved, not only there but also in Kerala and Tripura, is that if they if they determine that in any polling booth, has there been any road or any locality where there have been majority votes going for the opposition, then they ensure that civil services, public services do not reach that locality anymore, right? It can be drinking water, it can be sanitation, it can be whatever, any such public service. They can just come up and come and dig up your road and make sure that your life is held. Now that formula has continued, and the TMC has just continued and has taken it to the barbaric levels. We all know how the Hindus were treated immediately after the 2019 election, so much that any Hindu who had the guts to join BJP publicly and campaign for the party would have had a death threat to them. And within 15-20 days, we saw how BJP in West Bengal crumbled. This was immediately after the euphoria of winning those 18 odd seats, right? So imagine the kind of local pressure that you go through, and that is again something that an average BJP voter will be going through, even this time around in West Bengal. Babul Supriyo is a great example. I don't give him high marks for ideology. He is a cat who switches sides. But if his life is on threat, and if he can jump around back and forth, then any average Hindu on the street, he is just a mere statistic. So I think that is the context in which we need to look at West Bengal. And even now, people will be damn scared to vote for the BJP. And even if they want to vote for the BJP, they will be damn secretive about it. They would not want to reveal it across any opinion poll, any exit poll. And therefore, the results may deviate from any surveys or predictions. Adit?
Absolutely. You want to go next, Rohit? On your perspective, one interesting thing is Mamata Banerjee, for some reason, has given Kirti Azad a ticket from Bardhaman, and Shatrughan Sinha has been repeated from Asansol. I have no idea why Dilip Ghosh is. I think Dilip Ghosh has taken Bardhaman this time, and I think BJP should pretty much win pretty confidently. Maybe she's hoping that there is some sort of vote that is from adjacent Bihar, Jharkhand region that Kirti Azad can get. But it's funny that the son of the ex-chief minister of Bihar cannot get re-elected in Bihar, but has to go to Bengal under Trinamool Congress to get elected. Rohit.
Adding to the list, I don't know if you've seen, but Yusuf Pathan from Gujarat has also been given a ticket from Behrampur by the Congress. People don't realize that there is a significant Pathan population that actually lives in Kolkata.
And he was a significant player of the Kolkata Knight Riders. So
exactly. So I mean, that is the only reason probably why somebody from Gujarat has been parachuted in true tradition to the Trinamool Congress. But yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. In 2021, Narendra Modi government had actually inducted 4 ministers from Bengal. So what is interesting is that 1 out of the 4 ministers has not been given a Lok Sabha ticket this time, which is John Barla. Otherwise, Nishit Pramanik, Subhash Sarkar, and what's the third name? Shantanu Thakur. Now, Shantanu Thakur being the minister and also being given the ticket is significant because the BJP has been aggressively trying to get the Matwa community to vote for it. The Matwa community is a very interesting case because Matwa is basically a sampradaya. One of the Hindu sampradayas in Bengal, Sri Harichandra Thakur, and Shantanu is a direct descendant of the founder of the movement. And the CAA, whose rules have just been very recently, in fact, enforced, has a direct bearing for the Matwa community because a large chunk of the Hindus that are still in Bangladesh who are seeking refuge from persecution, actually, or had come to India seeking refuge from persecution, coincidentally, were followers of the Matwa community and were looking up to the BJP for a very long time. 2021, Mamata Banerjee had actually made it a big issue as to why the rules were not being enforced. And in the assembly elections, we did see the Matwa community not necessarily turning out for the BJP in the same numbers for that very reason. So now that the rules are there, I want to see what happens because if the Matwa community gets the vote, that is a breach in the fortress of AITC. Now you have to realize one thing. Bengal is literally voting north-south right now. Okay. North is where the BJP dominates. South is where the TMC dominates today. So whatever, and TMC is trying to, Asansol like seats, they're trying to bring in star campaigners. Frankly, they will not win that because the BJP has built a very strong base. Even a seat like Darjeeling, where Raju Bista is the MP right now, um, there is still some contest because of the AITC candidate Gopal Lama. But
Hmm.
you say
No, and when you have the sort of the supremacists, not for the TMC, trying to sort of do the otherization of non-Bengalis in Bengal, saying that
exactly.
BJP is a party of Gujaratis and Marwadis and Hindi speaking. There are a lot of those language sort of supremacists on Twitter and social media and stuff. Don't underestimate the impact where they are going to question them on this.
Adding to that, Bengal itself is very diverse culturally. Okay, so actual ethnic Bengal in that sense is only southern Bengal. Places like Kuch Bihar, where the Rajbangshis dominate quite a bit, and where Nishit Pramanik has been given a seat. You see what's going to happen. It's going to be a BJP wave for them for sure, because CA is another thing that it's another community which gets affected directly by the CA's enforcement now. So, the CAA card for the BJP was a strategic card from the Bengal perspective, and that seems to be creating some waves for it definitely in the state. In the southern Bengal, though, I'm not confident if the BJP will be able to still pull off the kind of numbers that it wants to. It's a hardcore heartland of Bengal, and eastern part of West Bengal, frankly, the demographics are such the BJP barely stands a chance unless the left front fields serious candidates that help divide the vote and does not ensure that the vote transfer takes place to the TMC just to defeat the BJP.
Yes, that is the fear that the BJP has. Mohal, your thoughts before we move to Orissa and Assam?
Yeah, I think that I think the Sandesh Khali violence has polarized the electorate for sure this time around. Obviously, as Kishor had outlined, there is a lot of fear among people like who won't openly say that they're voting for the BJP. But I think last time the Congress did win 2 seats. Like one was like Behrampur, which is like Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary stronghold, and the other one I think was Dakshin Malda, which I think they barely won by less than 10,000 votes. So, putting aside Behrampur, that leaves like the remaining 41 seats in play. I personally believe, that BJP will win more seats than TMC, or at least equal to, in this election, unlike 2019 when they were like fractionally, they were like 4 seats behind, like 18 to 22. So I think this will be this is the mother of all, but rest of the country, we know that practically who is winning in most of the states. But I think, maybe you leave Maharashtra side because that's quite an unknown with so many alliance partners still jostling for seats. But I think this is the mother of all battles, like for the 2024 election. And I think the shocker is going to be like when I think TMC comes in second to BJP. And I think like Mamta has been getting into quite a few accidents or whatever you call it just before election. But I think the real shock is going to come on June 4th in West Bengal. For her.
So you're saying that BJP is going to be the single largest party in Bengal,
or at least equal or greater.
Yeah, I find it hard because, and I'm coming to you, Rohit, in a second. Maybe at a Lok Sabha level it's possible, but at a Vidhan Sabha level, it probably certainly most won't happen. I think Mamta is still the strongest.
No. Vidhan Sabha level, it won't happen. This is vote for the more for. I think more of the Marxists, but even from the ground reports, more of the CPIM vote is transferring to BJP this time around.
It is not even CPIM; it's the Hindu vote. It is essentially BJP is getting a 90% strike rate of the Hindu vote wherever it is a factor, and wherever it's a factor, I'm repeating, right? It's not like they are getting 90% of the Hindu vote everywhere. Otherwise, they would get 40 seats in Bengal, because it's easier to say that it's a Hindu versus Muslim election. It's not. But there are seats, especially with 30-35% Muslim population. If there is polarization in favor of Mamta, there is reverse polarization in favor of BJP. Rohit, your point, and then I'll come back to Mohal.
Here's the point very well. The CPM's vote bank basically has sort of split into two. One is the Hindu vote bank, which has migrated to the BJP. The Muslim vote bank is what has migrated to the TMC essentially. So I want to see what happens. The BJP had managed to get 2/3 of all the Hindu votes, frankly, according to some data that had come out after the assembly elections in 2021. But that was insufficient to breach the Southern Bengal fortress. So I want to see if that number gets breached somehow. The test case for me is frankly Boshirhat, which is very close to Kolkata. Rekha Patra has been fielded from Boshirhat, and She was apparently a victim of the violence as well that had taken place a few years back, communal violence in a very bad manner. So let's see what happens there. Um, Malda and places like Medinipur, frankly, BJP barely stands a chance. So, but yeah, and so I want to see the 90% number that you guys are talking about happens or not. Because
Hmm.
two-thirds has to achieve, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Yes.
50% is now the genuine question. South
Yes.
Kolkata Hindus have to whether South Bengal Hindus basically have to come forward.
Yes. Truly. I completely agree. Mohal, you wanted to make in a quick point before we go to the
Yeah, I think
another
the
fascinating battle, Odisha.
Yeah, I think the 7 phase election does help to prevent mass killing. Obviously, some of voter intimidation is going to happen in a state like Bengal, which I think much of the national media doesn't focus many times on. Like in the panchayat elections, like just before 2019, or I think just after 2019, like one third of the seats were like uncontested. Like imagine like in a place like India where you have like hundreds of political parties, like one third of seats should raise a lot of eyebrows. I mean, like when people from outside like India say, oh, democracy is in danger, like nobody would even dare to point like Bengal, where one third of your panchayat election seats are virtually uncontested. But anyways, coming back to the election, I think on the state, I think it's a state election. I don't think it's a very different discussion altogether. But BJP would be in the running. If free and fair elections are held, I think there will be like a shocker that BJP could come in equal or higher than TMC. I think that would be like one of my bold predictions, along with I would say like the double-digit vote share for Tamil Nadu for this election.
Interesting.
One
Go
benchmark
ahead. Go ahead.
for West Bengal will be how Mamata Banerjee will play the Hindu card, and the reason why I'm talking about that is the ad hoc manner in which she has declared Ram Navami as a holiday this year for the state government in the middle of the year, just before the elections were announced. So how will she play the Hindu card? What are the reasons for her to play that card? Will be a benchmark, and that is something that will kind of help us know which way the wind is blowing.
No, and I'll tell you, it's very interestingly, the IPL match had to be changed because of Ram Navami, the date. And in Gujarat, where I think it was always a holiday, or at least I'd heard that it was. So it's interesting that it's a factor in there, and it's not a factor. And the elections have not even started when Ram Navami is happening. So it's not like it's election date. So it's quite interesting that she did, but there is certainly a thing. But I at worst for BJP, it is good, a 50-50 thing. At best, it's probably like a 55-45 split. We can ensure of one thing, that there are 15 seats that both the parties are going to win anyways. There are going to be sort of 12 seats that are going to be competitive between both of them. And that is sort of my perspective from Bengal. And we can make another sort of prediction. Congress and all are nowhere. But they are absolutely gone completely.
That's true.
Yes. So having said that, let's move to our next state, the very interesting and the very fascinating state of Odisha. So here comes Odisha. All right. So it's interesting that about one big change from Odisha. 2019, it was Naveen Patnaik. Now it's Achyuta Samanta. It still says Pinaki Mishra. They have forgotten that Pinaki Mishra has not been given a ticket by BJD this time. But let's look at what happened last year. Last year, BJP, again, a spectacular jump of 17%, almost 17% to 38.4%. Naveen Patnaik gets 43, almost 43%, continues this thing. And Congress, from the glory, quote unquote, glory days of JB Patnaik, has completely gone. Shrikant Kumar Jena has not been able to get them anywhere. They are only a factor in one seat, where they keep winning that one seat from a long time. So even if you look at 2014, they didn't even win that one seat. 2009 is probably the last time they won like a total of 6 seats. That's when Naveen Patnaik went alone, broke away from the BJP. Now come to 2024, there were rumors that the BJP and the BJD will form an alliance. Many of us said correctly so that it would be a suicidal option for the BJP because Naveen is on his way, down. VK Pandian is essentially going to be the de facto chief minister of Odisha anyway. Bhratuhari Mahtab, Baijayant Panda, his trusted chieftains are now in the BJP. They clearly don't want part of Naveen's sort of legacy on this. And the only person, Pinaki Mishra, who's there from in the BJD, is not contesting this time and is in a jhamela of his own. So Odisha is an interesting factor. Now, Odisha, you have to understand, is about 22% scheduled caste population, and you can see there are five seats reserved for the STs and 3 seats of the STs. So more than 30% of the seats, there are 21 seats in Lok Sabha seats, and 8 seats are reserved for SC/ST. So more than 30%. So significant population is there. And how Joel Oram, a big BJP tribal leader, how he does in Sundargarh, that will matter. Congress has done an alliance with communists and for some bizarre reason JMM. I think they've given them the seat that is bordering Odisha or Jharkhand. But quite frankly, Congress is not a factor, so I don't know if JMM is going to be a factor or not. What is fascinating is BJP has declared all its 21 nominees. BJD has not declared one. Congress has only declared 7 or 8 nominees. Now, Odisha also votes in 4 phases, which is kind of a shocker because Odisha typically has been a 1 or 2 phase election as far as I remember. So this is kind of surprising, but Odisha also votes for its legislative assembly. Now here is the fascinating thing. All the polls sort of are saying the same thing, 11-10, 11-10, which is a virtual 50-50 split. But if you look at the assembly polls where Naveen Patnaik is the leader, and there are MLAs still being sort of done, they are saying Naveen is going to come back to power. I don't have the opinion polls data here, but from what I've read, they are all saying that Naveen is going to come to power. So given that dichotomy, what is your perspective? We'll go with Rohit first and then Kishor.
So it's very interesting that you mentioned this. Pandian is definitely a big factor. In the past, it was accused by people unofficially that the government used to use the bureaucracy to rig elections. And Pandian was a big force in the bureaucracy. It used to be the case that people actually had to take final sign-offs from Pandian, irrespective of the chief minister office, and that was the power he held. So it's a well-known fact. However, what's interesting is that the BJP has risen despite all that has been going against it. See, in the Panchayat election that had taken place a couple of years back, the BJP had literally been wiped out in Odisha alongside other opposition parties, and Naveen Patnaik and BJD has really taken the romped home basically in terms of the results. So from there to seeing this in the Lok Sabha terms is quite a fascinating comeback for the BJP. Now, some of it has to do with some of the BJD leaders who were essentially thrown out of the party due to in a way to cut them to size, and has come into the BJP and actually strengthened the BJP in some way. Secondly, the BJP has also been very keen on growing in Odisha in a big way, and it has not desisted from repeating tickets as well. One example being Sambit Patra. Now, Sambit Patra has been again given the ticket from Puri, though he had lost by 1 lakh the votes the last time. The fact is that it was considered a very close fight, and Sambit frankly did not even have a lot of time to campaign that time. Now he has a lot of time to campaign, and Pinaki Mishra was the face last time against him. This time it's somebody else. Let's see how it plays out.
No, correction. Sambit did not lose by 1 lakh votes. He lost only by 11,000 votes. So it was a very close fight.
Right. Yeah, sorry. So, I mean, it was a very close contest. So I want to see what happens. Puri is definitely a test case and is part of the BJP's agenda of Odisha's pride and culture. Now, BJP funnily is making this agenda in the state assembly. Funny in the sense that I find it a little amusing that though BJD is the regional party, BJD is being accused by the BJP of diluting Odisha's pride and legacy by making Pandian such a prominent face in the Biju Janata Dal affairs. So I want to see how that plays out. And Odia pride is frankly a very sensitive issue in the elections of Odisha. An interesting candidate from the Biju Janata Dal is Achyut Samanta. He is considered to be the eyes and ears of Naveen Patnaik on the ground in the state. He runs his own Kalinga Institute of Information and Technology, which is a very big private institution close to Bhubaneswar, where tribal students are taught. So is that also a reason why they're doing it, to ensure that the tribal vote is somewhere diluted? See, Odisha also has a significant tribal population. BJP's Janjatiya outreach has been massive, so to speak. So that's where the swing definitely comes in for the BJP.
A- and the influence of the RSS, right? And just to
Definitely.
add to your point, Achyuta Samanta also happens to be fighting Kandhamal, the bone of contention last time when the BJP alliance
Exactly.
broke. So yes, go
Exactly.
for it.
And and another two candidates that I find very fascinating from the BJP side, besides the usual ones that have been given tickets. One is Jay Panda, again coming from Kendrapada. This might be a good fight because he definitely holds a chance, having his own personal popularity. Another face that I see personally very interesting is Bhartrihari Mahatab, who was very recently elected from the Biju Janata Dal. So will he be able to, show his strength on the ground? Genuine question that we need to see, because despite BJP taking in leaders from the BJD in the past, most of them turned out to be damn squibs on the ground. So definitely watch out for Jay Panda. Definitely has tried to make a mark with his organizational skills for the BJP in Odisha, and has been working very hard to build it. And I think he must be having the last laugh when the talks of alliance between the BJD and the BJP got called off at the end
Yeah.
of the day, because of the personal
Or the first laugh. So um,
um,
uh,
Another
sorry,
name,
you
RSS leader Pratap Chandra Sarangi, who was also made the minister briefly in the Modi government, a man of very humble backgrounds, but has been a very strong force on the ground in the past, fighting against the conversion mafia in the state. So the BJP is basically relying on some very popular faces, some old guard. So I mean, the game is on for the BJP, and the 4 or 5 phases of elections mean that uh, even the unofficial accusations of the bureaucracy interfering in the electoral process cannot come in now. So because there'll be so much vigilance. So let's see how it plays out.
let's see how it plays out. Indeed, Kishore, your take on this.
3 states where BJP tried and did not try, or kind of backed out from having an alliance: Bihar, Nitish Kumar, Odisha, then Andhra Pradesh. For whatever reason, for different reasons, they decided to go for an alliance in 2 states, and that was the only state where they did not want to. So that was the reason. That was one thing that strikes out. The other thing is obviously Navin Patnaik is kind of way past his prime, both in terms of electoral acumen, political acumen, and also health-wise. And of course, everybody looking at Pandian as the protege, so to speak. I think that is the thing that the BJP has definitely caught on to, like how Rohit mentioned. And yes, I think BJP is playing the waiting game. And the reason why they don't mind playing the waiting game is BJD in Delhi, in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha, will anyway definitely not be a challenger, or will definitely not toe the opposition line. So I think that way they don't mind playing along for a couple of more years. And come the legislative assembly elections, I think that is when BJP would want to definitely knock the chair off for Navin Patnaik.
And BJP would be silly to actually let go of the advantage in the assembly elections. Given Naveen Babu's obvious issues with health and age, I think it's a golden opportunity, and I think Jay Panda should be projected as a chief ministerial leader. He's a strong leader. He has, credibility, and so he should do it. Mohal, your quick thoughts before we go to Assam.
Yeah, I think when the talks or the news came out that they were having talks, it was kind of surprising to many, because usually, like, the number one and number two party never form an alliance. Usually it's like when you are behind in the game, or you want to beat the number one party. Usually, I mean, and Congress is nowhere to be seen, frankly. So just to the I think the majority, 90% of the vote is between these two parties. So it never made a lot of sense, and obviously the talks did break down in the end. And I think, like, it's fairly certain that there will be like a good fight in the Lok Sabha polls, where BJP might come up a few seats, but in the assembly polls, even in spite of Naveen Babu's health issues and uh, like him not being accessible to many, that is an accusation by folks on the ground. I think he's going to win again, because BJD remains fairly popular, and lack of any strong BJP leader on the ground will ensure that I think he will probably break the record, I mean, health permitting, of the longest serving chief minister in India.
Interesting. Records to sabhi ko todne hai. But speaking of records, let's go to our next state, from Odisha to Assam. We'll this week's podcast, we'll wrap up from doing the east and the northeast, and then we'll, as I said, we'll go to the others. But Assam is a very fascinating battle. First, before we get into Assam, I want to talk a little bit about exit polls and opinion polls. India, I would take them seriously if they took themselves seriously. I saw an opinion poll the other day where BJP was given like 11 to 13 seats or 12 seats or something in Assam. Then I had to remind myself that BJP is only contesting 11 seats. So I don't know where the 11 to 13 number comes from. But chalo, for shits and giggles, let's just assume they've given 11 to 13 seats to the I.N.D.I.A alliance, right? Even that is not possible because Assam has 2 seats, namely Dhubri and Barpeta, in where there is about a 45 to 50% Muslim vote, if I'm not mistaken. And just look at the MLAs of Dhubri. They go from AIUDF, which is Badruddin Ajmal's party, to Congress. But the BJP doesn't even have an MLA there. Last time the AGP came in number 3, and they came in number 3 by a fair distance. They got about 23% of the votes. I think we are going to have a very similar situation this time as well in Dhubri. I don't see anyone except Mr. Badruddin Ajmal winning. Even if they want, I don't think Rakibul Hassan is going to cut into that many votes of Badruddin Ajmal. He's like the local leader. As Kishor loves my classification, he's the Republic of Dhubri ka president. And the other seat is Barpeta, where BJP has 2 MLAs. And the AGP came in number 2, and they lost by about 1 lakh votes. Abdul Khalik lost. I see a similar situation happening. Sirajuddin Ajmal, who was his brother, won it in 2014. I think this time there will be sort of some last-minute understanding between Congress and the Badruddin Ajmal. He hasn't even nominated someone, and they are going to win Barpeta. The other seat is Mr. Gaurav Gogoi's old seat, which is Jorhat, where last time, yes, BJP has sort of 5 or 6 MLAs, but last time the candidate was Shushanta Borgoyan. This time I think Gaurav Gogoi himself is standing, so Tarun Gogoi's legacy and stuff, they have a chance there too. So having said that, I see Assam as a 10-4 thing. This is not, 10-4. BJP was nowhere about 10 years ago. So this is a credit to Mr. Sarbananda Sonowal and obviously to Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sharma, who is the most popular leader in Assam. And he's definitely going to ensure at least 9 or 10 seats for BJP in Assam. So Kishore, you first, and then I'll go to Rohit. What do you think about the BJP's chances in Assam? And just quickly, last time they won 9 seats. Congress won 3 and Ajmal won 1 seat, and I think Bodoland People Front won the other, or I think, yes, that's not the Bodoland, Independent. The other 4th went to an independent. So what do you think, Kishore?
The implosion of the Congress vote, I think that is where a lot of attention is going. The PCC chief himself has been poached by Hemanta Biswa Sharma. He has now joined BJP. Funnily enough, CAA, which becomes a huge issue in Bengal and had become a huge issue in Assam for the opposite reason, has now not become a big reason simply because of how Hemanta Biswa Sharma is managing the entire narrative within Bengal. Now, I think that is one thing that I need to watch out for. Why do I say so? Because the Assami Hindus think that the Bengali Hindus, whoever have come from Bangladesh, if they start getting citizenship under the CAA, then Assam will not will start losing its identity, Ahomi identity, and that was the entire crux of the agitation last time around. So this time around, although there are no street level protests, but will these Ahomi Hindus come out and vote against the BJP is something that I would want to check out. Obviously, it will not be a shocker for the BJP wherein they will lose massively, but key seats where the margins are less, I think that is where this might be a telling factor. Adit?
Absolutely. Quickly, Mohal, you want to jump in, and then I'll go to Rohit.
But I'll want to elaborate one of Kishore's point. I think the margins are less. So I think if you look at the 2019 results, even in a small state like Assam, where the constituencies won't be pretty huge, BJP did win all their seats by 80,000 plus votes, right? So which is a significant margin. So I see more of a status quo, as you said, because of demographics. Those 3-4 seats are out of reach. So that leaves BJP within this tight, sorry, the NDA within this tight bound range of like 9 to 11 ish. Because I mean, the 3 or 4 seats are not going to be with coming
No,
to BJP
and
for
the thing
sure.
is, they are not going to gain any ground in there with
Yeah.
so I mean, unless and until they completely change their strategy and stuff, which if they do that, they might lose the other 10.
Yeah.
So they
I
have to
mean,
be.
see, like if you take the 9 seats which they won, like maybe Naogong, which was like lost by 16,000 votes.
Hmm.
So probably you add a 10, maybe I'm not sure like what's going on in that one independent seat that they won. So let's say it's basically you're range bound with 9 to 11, because those other 3 seats are definitely not coming because of demographics to the BJP for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, Rohit, your points, and then we'll quickly do a skim through with you once you're done with Assam on the northeast states, and what do you think on them? Yeah.
So it's interesting. Some of the candidates that they've announced, I mean, repeats, including Raman and the Sonowal being there. I see the candidacy of Kamakhya Prasad Tasa, who has worked very extensively in the tea plantations. Tea
Right.
plantation vote. I mean, he's been working for decades in the region, and so the tea plantation, the Cha Bagan vote bank is definitely. See what Congress's traditional vote base in, as the local media would tell you in Assam, would be the Ali Kuli Bangali vote, right? So basically, Ali vote has definitely broken away towards AIUDF, and that has been a very big spoil sport for the Congress. The Kuli vote, which is basically people like the Santals would brought in to work in the state as cha bagan workers and other industry workers. That is that, and of course the Bengali Hindu vote has broken and moved significant numbers towards the BJP. The big dent, of course, that the BJP has managed to succeed in creating over the years is the Ahmiya vote bank. You know, the Ahmiya voters, and there, as even Himanta Sharma has said in many interviews to local media, he has made he's been successful in creating a tactical alliance between the Ahmiya Hindus and the Bengali Hindus to, create or divert the dominance of the largest vote bank in one sense in Assam today, which is the Ali vote bank, right? Which everybody is fearful of, and which makes, in fact, Badruddin Ajmal such an important factor also in the state. And CA, of course, the anger definitely is not at the same level as it was in 2019 for sure. So I think the BJP would definitely take heart from that. I want to see what happens in the seat of Barpeta because uh, I mean, it's the dynamics are such, but Badruddin Ajmal's alliance has fielded candidate from the seat. So I want to see if that manages to split the vote and get the seat for the BJP in a three-way contest. Apart from that, of course, Dhubri is one seat, and I mean, you even see certain seats where, frankly, Congress and Badruddin Ajmal's party have only fielded Muslim candidates. So I mean, it's very clear that there are these two groups that are basically vying for the Muslim vote in the
Hmm.
state. They're not
I
even
think like you
transparent now.
I think you bring up a very good point. I think the first phase, I believe, is on 20th of March, right? So we are like exactly 2 weeks from the first phase. And unlike the previous time, AUIDF hasn't officially entered the India alliance, and they're not contesting. So what happens in those 3 seats where they put up candidates, they could very well split the vote. And I mean, it could be still up in the air, because I mean, it's kind of I mean, like and see, Assam votes in like the first phase, second phase, and third phase. So it is high time that they have to stitch up an alliance. Otherwise, the risk losing, let's say, one of these or two of these 3 seats. So usually, like they have, I mean, an alliance would have been formed by now. I mean, it's not like a Bihar or Maharashtra where you have like 5 to 6 players and you have to balance delicately, taking into everybody into consideration. This is a simply an alliance with like one-on-one with 2 parties. So it's kind of surprising that both Congress and AIUDF both have announced candidates for this 2 to 3 seats. I think it's Karimganj, Dubri, and I forget like the third seat. So it'll be kind of surprising to see like will one of them actually withdraw the candidate? If not, there could be like 50-50
No,
chance.
no, no, no. There is no. I don't think, because there is a last minute switch there is some understanding that happens ki aap thoda, the cadre basically switches it in the last minute, and that's what used to happen in Bengal, and that's what's happening in Assam, unless and until there is a AIMIM type party that actually does it and does a sort of a jump start on this. But we are
No,
so,
but also remember, like the last day for withdrawal of nomination for phase 1 and 2 is already on us, right? Phase 1 to ho gaya hai. Phase 2 also tomorrow is the last day to withdraw nomination. So I'm not sure when all these constituencies are going in phase 1, 2, or 3, but I mean, you could actually have 2 candidates on the EVM machine.
It's possible.
Doesn't mean BJP will win, but just will make things interesting. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely. I agree. So we can cover a couple of Northeast states before we wrap up, because we have to wrap up today on. But Rohit, your point. Or maybe we'll cover those states, finish up your points, and the other Northeast states we'll do it in the next podcast.
The alliance. UPPL has come back. UPPL is led by the veteran Jayanta Basumatari. So and that's an interesting sign, because he was amongst the people who had initially tried to bring in peace when the insurgencies of the Bodo region had reached their peak. So he's an old veteran and who's come back to the BJP, who's come into the BJP fold. So it's an interesting switch. And Kokrajhar is one seat which has definitely benefited from the Bodo Peace Accord and the territorial councils that have since been brought up. And kudos to the BJP in that sense for having literally unlocked peace in Assam after in phases, but in an amazing manner, which is long lasting in nature.
Truly. And the strange thing is, we are all sort of not as young, but we don't remember Paresh Barua and Ulfa is not even being talked about. So it's strange how the times have changed. Kishore, you wanted to make a point, and guys, what I'll do is, since we're running out of time, we'll cover all the Northeast states with the Western states and in our last wrap-up podcast, and that I'll assure you because I don't want to give them significant time, because I also want to talk about the Tipra Matha and what is happening in Tripura and stuff. So Kishore, so we'll go over to closing comments now. Kishore.
Yeah, I think I will talk about something that will lead us to the next podcast, about how Himanta Biswa Sarma and BJP want to win all the 25 seats in the Northeast, but that is physically impossible for them because of the demographics. However, what they can achieve this time around, which they failed last time, is making sure that Congress does not win even 1 out of the 25 in the entire Northeast region, Assam and beyond.
So what do you think then? What do you think that what is the higher threshold for BJP?
Upwards of 20. N.D.A. Upwards of 20.
Absolutely. What about you, Mohal? Your thoughts before we start wrapping up? Yeah.
I think more or less the same. I mean, they pretty much had maxed out in the Northeast, so it will be like hard for them to go much higher than what they got last time. I have to remember the number. I have to check it out. Maybe on the next podcast we can discuss like how many they won and which states they won.
To quote Sri Venkaiah Naidu, there are 3 things that is stopping the BJP in the Northeast. One is the demography, the other is geography, and third is vocabulary. If they figure out one of those 3, they will, the D, G, and V, they will do it. It's kind of strange. We don't see Venkaiah ji now. I think he's been the vice president, so he's essentially quasi-retired now. But I want to see if he is in campaigning in Andhra Pradesh or not, especially after now the Chandrababu Naidu alliance is done. Closing thoughts, Rohit, and then we'll wrap up, and then we'll sort of leave the best for the last.
Sam, I would say, the Northeast per se, I think 20 to 22 is the number I see. Frankly, the BJP doesn't even stand in contest in 5 seats at least. That is very clear for the reasons that you stated. If I talk about Bengal, definitely I see somewhere around 23 right now for the BJP. 19 to 23 is the range I will give for it. And for Odisha, I am somewhat aligned with the numbers that are coming generally from the exit polls, though. I would say that the BJP is in contest, but it would not be surprising for me if the BJD manages to take more seats at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a 10-10 contest, or at least a 8-8 contest in Orissa, and 5 seats up for grabs. And the battle, I think 300 seats in India have already been decided. Probably I would even say 320. The battle is what will happen in the other 220.
Yeah.
Or the other 223. And that is the election.
states that will probably have to form as the swing state if the BJP
Correct.
is talking about the 400 Par campaign for its
Exactly. And what BJP is hoping is that, again, I go back to our first podcast, 195 mein se, they are hoping to get at least 160, because if they are there, they barely need to make up much ground in the other, which is more than 60% of the seats still doing. So, but again, we are going back to that. A lot of old state leaders, old faces, local faces have been contesting in BJP this time. So it remains to be seen. It's not a purge that what people expected. It's a acclimatization with the old guard that Mr. Modi has done. He is the smartest politician in India that we know, and has never lost an election, and isn't likely to lose one. But how much he wins by and how he wins remains to be seen. So wait for part 5. Thank you, Mohal, Kishor, and Rohit, for indulging me today in this short podcast abridged. But we had this fascinating discussion of West Bengal, Odisha, and Assam. Hum log mazak mein bolte, but that is 70 seats. Right?
Yeah.
It's 76 seats, and BJP is hoping for at least 50 out of those 76, or at least 45.
I mean,
if they were to make a splash.
For BJP, the challenge is always this Bay of Bengal corridor, I say, right? From West Bengal to Odisha to Tamil Nadu to Andhra Pradesh. I think that's the tough nut for BJP. And people always keep saying South, but I mean, I'm just talking pre-2019, right? I mean, that whole stretch of 140 odd seats, that's the biggest challenge. If they can crack it, then I guess they can get close to this. I'm not saying they'll cross 400, but they can get close to this targeted goal of Prime Minister.
Absolutely. And if that happens, when that happens, we'll be here to do the discussion and introspection on it. Till then, Mohal, Rohit, Kishor, thank you so much for joining. We'll be back in a few days, guys, with part 5 and the last part. And stay tuned. Till then, please like, share, subscribe. The Twitter handles are there. We'll tag them on Twitter as well. We'll be back soon. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support.